discussing the business of making and spending money.
Hello, you're welcome to today's edition of Money Radio and Leadership Podcast. Money Radio, of course, is that program that brings you the latest developments in Nigeria's business and economy cycles and issues of businesses around the world. My name is Innocent Odo, and today we have come with a very bumper edition of the program, and we are focusing today on the issue of agri-technology. It might interest you to know that yesterday in Abuja, the Nigerian government formally took over the control of a Chinese-funded agricultural technology demonstration center that is located in Oshafa village in the Buhari area council of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And so we're looking at the handover of that particular facility to the Nigerian government, which was done yesterday with the fanfare and some other serious matters that were discussed at that venue of that handing over ceremony yesterday that was conducted by the Chinese Embassy and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Once again, you're welcome to this edition. And we are talking about how we're going to put this facility into proper use for Nigerian farmers who are going to exactly get trainings and skill acquisition in order to enhance their capacity using technology, especially now that the government is talking about modernizing and mechanizing agriculture in the country. And so we have a bumper harvest. In fact, if you ask me, if we take the opportunities being offered by these facilities. The Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Q Jianchun, was very emphatic and also very impressive about his this ceremony, which led to the handing over of this project to Nigerians. And he was also very, very on point when he said that the bilateral relations between Nigeria and his country has yielded enormous fruits to the countries. He talked about, apart from the issue of the technology agricultural demonstration center in Abuja, there were so many other benefits that have accrued as a result of the bilateral ties between Nigeria and China. And so he talked about the Lekki Deep Sea Port that's about to be handed over to the Nigerian government, a port that is surely going to offer nearly 200,000 jobs to Nigerians, both direct and indirect jobs, when it becomes fully operational. The Chinese have also talked about the ICT. They talk about industrial technology, space science, and all other aspects of development that the Chinese government has made enormous contributions to ensure that its friendship with Nigeria will also help in developing the Nigerian economy, in developing the Nigerian agri sector, the ICT sector, and all the other sectors that have become really useful in the modern time. So yesterday, it was quite instructive that the representatives of the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development were there, and the acting permanent secretary, Mr. Daniel Udo, who represented the Minister of State for Agriculture and Rural Development, Mr. Baba Shehuri, was also there to present his very important statement to the Nigerian public on the necessity of that project. And the Nigerian government was actually very excited and very impressed with the level of facilities in that project. And they have also promised that Nigeria will take charge of it and ensure that they use that project judiciously to enable Nigerian farmers acquire the necessary skills to enable them train in all the other aspects of agri-technology, including research centers, research and development in the agri sector, including also agri-processing, like food items and the rest of them that will add value to the Nigerian economy. And so this is a great moment for Nigeria and China in their bilateral ties. We have also seen another evidence of the Nigeria-China cooperation in the area of agri-technology, which of course is a massive project of this nature that has been developed and handed over to the Nigerian government to be able to help assist Nigeria in building agri infrastructure with which they can now develop productivity in the sector and earn foreign exchange in order to add more value to the Nigerian economy and stop the pressure for unemployment that has actually bedeviled the Nigerian youth, for instance, who have been the larger victims of the shrinking economy. And so this facility, experts have said, would boost the agri sector by ensuring that the youths acquired necessary opportunities that will also boost their skills, their capacities, and all the other enablements that will help them individually to grow in the agri sector and contribute meaningfully. So this development is also very good at fighting the reported high level of unemployment in Nigeria. It will interest you to know that according to the statistics from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, NBS, the Nigerian unemployment rate is about 33.3%, which is one of the highest in the world. And of this figure, mainly the Nigerian young people are the ones who are affected by these very ugly statistics that we have. And so there must be a way through which the Nigerian government, in collaboration with foreign partners like the Chinese government and other international agencies, including Chinese companies that were also there present, to find a strategy on how to engage the young people of Nigeria to enable them realize their potential in the area of agricultural technology so that they can use it to remove themselves from this dungeon of poverty, from this dungeon of unemployment, and begin to create value for themselves and for the country, and of course, lift themselves out of the dungeon of poverty. Now, it might also interest you to know that the Chinese ambassador, like I said, Ambassador Qiu Jiachun, said that it's so glad to him, for him rather, to see that the Nigerian young people would take advantage of this facility to grow different kinds of crops. They're also going to study so many things like soil science, where they will be able to get knowledge about development in the soils, in soils, make them suitable for farming all kinds of crops. They're also going to do research in that sector, in that facility. They also every aspect of agri technology and agri development, including animal sciences and the rest of them, are only there for that particular project. And of course, you can see there are so many facilities, including tractors, including harvesters, and so many things that as planters and the rest of them, with which the Nigerian farmers can gain advantage and begin to use them judiciously to help Nigeria. Now, unemployment rate, like I said, 33.3%. We also have poverty rate in the country. The country is not smiling at all. The statistics are not smiling at all on Nigerians. Over 40% of Nigerians are said to be living in below poverty line. Some time ago, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics also came out with the figures of 133 million Nigerians said to be living under the poverty line. That is a very, very scary figure for a nation that has a bulging youth population. And something has to be done to ensure that we lift this number of people. 133 million people is more than half of the Nigerian population. As a matter of fact, it's about 63% of the Nigerian population of about 216 million people. So that is a great, great threat to peace and security. Where you have this type of figures featuring mainly young people that are unemployed and, of course, poor at the same time, it becomes a real danger to the community. No wonder we're having some security crises, from banditry to kidnapping to rape and the rest of them. You know, all kinds of criminality involving the young people have now bedeviled the country. And so with this singular effort being made by China, I think taking advantage of this will help us reducing poverty and removing a lot of our people from the poverty line. Now, the Chinese are speaking and doing from practical example of what they have experienced in their own country back in the years. In the 1970s, the Chinese were also at the backwaters. They also underdeveloped, and poverty unemployment, and all kinds of vices actually bedeviled that country. But then there was leadership, there was quality in leadership, and somebody, a leader, actually drew the line and drew the destiny of the nation. And today, the Chinese have done great for themselves and are exporting expertise, they are exporting technology, they are exporting experience, and they are exporting ICT and all other important sectors of the economy into other parts of the world. And Nigeria is benefiting immensely from the Chinese experience. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the discussion. Don't go away.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're on to Money Radio on Leadership Podcast, and we're looking at how to take advantage of having taken over the Chinese-funded Agri-Technology Demonstration Center that's located in Ushafa at the Buhari Area Council, which was formally handed over to Nigeria yesterday by the Chinese authorities. And so we look at how enthusiastic the Nigerians have been having taken over that project. Permit me to read a statement by the Minister of State for Finance, Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, who was represented by Fatima Sheji of the Department of International Cooperation in the Ministry. He said, and I quote, "This project is coming at a time when the present administration is working to improve Nigeria's capacity in agriculture to meet the international standards. The skills that will be acquired from the center will also aid local farmers in maintaining modern agricultural production technology that will be sustainable over the years. The center also touches on agricultural value chain, and it addresses food insecurity, increases foreign earnings through export mechanization, quality of seedlings, and use of technology for information and research. And it will pave the way for self-employment and infrastructure development." End of quote. Now, that is from the Minister of State for Finance, Budget and National Planning, who was also part of the handing over or taking over ceremony that was conducted yesterday in Abuja. And so there's an excitement going on here on the part of Nigerians, and there are very, very strong statements on what this particular project would deliver to the Nigerian public, especially for the young people who are now eager to actually take advantage of these very opportunities that the Chinese have offered. But the challenge, however, sometimes is that once projects like these are done and handed over to the Nigerian side, what do we expect? How do we go on from here? And so that is the interrogation of the project that we are supposed to do today, looking at the way forward as Nigeria takes over the China-funded Agricultural Technology Center. So this project had actually been handed over to Nigeria. But in the meantime, the project kicked off on March 8, 2021, and was completed on October 15, 2022. will be operated by the Chinese company known as CJCOC Agricultural Development Limited. So the operation for now would be handled by this Chinese company for, I don't know how long it will take them before they formally and finally hand over the operation to the Nigerian side. But talk about owning this project, I think the Nigerian government have actually formally taken it over to be able to supervise also the operations of that sector. And so the Nigerian side will also be able to begin to redesign, if you like, begin to map out more strategies on how to engage more Nigerians in acquiring to acquire skills in this sector. I understand that the locals of that community were very passionate about the establishment of this particular project in their locality. We had the traditional ruler of that community, the local council, local governing councils of that community also were there and got elated about this opportunity. They have also promised that they were going to provide adequate security for this project and ensure that it fits into the purpose for which it was meant. But then they also beckon on the Nigerian and Chinese government to ensure that more of the locals are recruited in the project, so that to give them a sense of belonging, and of course, as part of their corporate social responsibility, which will enable them expand their horizon in agri-technology. Like we said, agriculture is a very wide area, and agricultural technology, technology-driven agriculture is what is now the vogue around the world today. Every aspect of agri that you touch today, technology has something to do with it. You talk about processing, you talk about packaging, you talk about manufacturing, everything about agriculture is technology-driven. You talk about smart agriculture. I'm also aware that the Nigerian government, the Nigerian people will have an opportunity to learn about climate smart agriculture in that center. And so things are changing and changing fast. And so we are supposed to fall in line with the changing times in order not to be affected by the negativities if we fail to take our responsibilities seriously in this manner. So there is an opportunity for Nigerian government and the Nigerian people, but how are we going to maintain this project going forward? I understand the enormity of the responsibility there. The facilities are so many. I can read out some of them. The machines in that facility, that complex, are just so many of them. So how will the Nigerian authorities maintain these facilities? How will they also deploy these facilities to proper use? And make sure that the repairs of these facilities, and including acquiring new ones that are modern in nature, are also put in place there to ensure that we do not have lapses usually associated with government handling of some projects in this country. So there must be a transparent way through which we handle this project that has just been handed over to us. Let it not be as former projects that maybe we have inherited from other sources and go down the drain. Nigerians are smart people. The government also has some policies put in place to ensure that such projects are not handed over to people who will run them down in just some few years. I mean, the recruitment process of those who will have the expertise and technical competence to handle this project should be paramount in the minds of the government officials who have taken over this project. The usual recidivism that beclouds everything about Nigeria shouldn't be part of this project, so that it will work the purpose for which it was meant. Now, good thing that the Chinese company is also the one handling the operation. One believes that through this process, the Nigerian people will actually undergo some skilled training and all kinds of experiences in the hands of the Chinese companies that are handling this project, to be able to acquire the necessary skill to properly now replace the Chinese, so that Nigerians will have full control of this very important project. Because like I read out earlier, this project is very, very important in agri-development, in agri-productivity, especially now that the Nigerian government is talking about diversification to other sectors of the economy in order to grow Nigeria and make it better. The recovery program, or recovery process, sorry, recovery economic program in Nigeria must look into this direction to ensure that this is one area that at least it has offered job opportunities for the Nigerian young people from time immemorial. Agricultural sector, sorry, please. Agricultural sector has been that sector that has actually absorbed a lot of our people in employment. But over the years, there's a progressive decline in the inclusion of young people in this sector because of the crude method of farming, because of the outdated system of producing crops. And so the young people are really not available and not attracted to this kind of farming system, which of course had a toll on our food productivity and food security, and of course infrastructure development in the sector. Sorry. But right now that an opportunity has been provided by this project, the Nigerian young people will now have to find a way to revive their interest in agriculture, because they are very tech savvy, are very much interested in everything that has to do with technology. So it's an opportunity for the Nigerian young people once again to grab and boost our relationship with the Chinese. It may interest you to know that talking about poverty reduction using agri-technology, the Chinese did wonders in the past 40 years. Between 1978 and 2001. The Chinese have in fact lifted nearly 800 million people out of 1.4 billion population. The Chinese have lifted about 800 million people out of extreme poverty by working the agri sector, by working the other associated sectors to ensure that they build an economy that is world class and is only second to the American economy in the world. The Chinese are not relenting. They're actually doing more investment in this sector and proving that they can use it to build relationship with Nigeria and other African countries. Now, if you look at also the content of the China-Africa, what they call it, the Forum for China-Africa Cooperation, which is FOCAC, a forum that was established in the year 2000 to strengthen relations between China and African countries. Some of these areas like industrial development, space development, agricultural development, ICT development, and the rest of them, security and all of that, have also been captured in the FOCAC arrangement. You'd also look at the Chinese sponsored Belt and Roads Initiative that is about connecting the entire world now. It also has agriculture as one of its basic roots. So you can see that there's a comprehensive effort being made to expand the Nigerian economy using a Chinese model. Now, 133 million Nigerians said to be living under poverty line. I think the model of China in using agri-technology can help Nigeria in lifting the people out of poverty. Out of these 133 million people, if Nigeria can lift around 100 million people out of poverty in the next couple of years, I think they will have done a great job. It's now because of Nigerian authorities, those who have actually taken over this project, to sit down and re-strategize and rethink and refocus and reorganize and reprioritize what are the basic needs of the people and put adequate investment and adequate infrastructure to drive the process that will transform the lives of the people using agricultural technology. That is the only way the country can compete with the rest of the world, by making productivity the bedrock of its economy. It can only happen if Nigerians harness their resources together and put the potential of the young people into proper use. The energies of the young people need to be exploited in this regard to ensure that we perform our duties and compete with the rest of the world in goods and services that the other world can buy, so that we also earn foreign exchange to boost the Nigerian economy, reduce poverty, and make the people good for the largest number of the people. It is on that note that we called it a day on today's edition of Money Radio on Leadership Podcast. We promise to bring you a bumper edition when next will come. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.